in and out, arguing, trifling, difficult. Let more. I don't know why you love me.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today this video is going to be about basically, I always mess up my titles, I don't know why, but this one is the do's and the don'ts of your VMCAS application. If you hear any noise in the background, this fat cat over here, he's really not fat, but Pluto is tearing up his food. I'm pretty sure y'all hear it. These are the things that I did on my VMCAS application that successfully allowed me to get into my dream school, which was Virginia, Maryland. Before we start, disclaimer that these are things that work for me. They may not work for you. They may not be your style or whatever. And just because it did work for me does not mean it will 100% work for you. So if it doesn't, take what I say not with a grain of salt, but of course, you know, tailor it to you, as I say in all of my vet school videos. Make sure you grab your popcorn, your soda, or juice, whatever you want, your juice, your soda, your water, whatever, and a notepad, because you're going to have to write down all the gems I'm about to drop for you. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So the first thing I'm going to talk about before I actually get started is I'm going to go ahead and give like a background about VMCAS a little bit. VMCAS stands for the Veterinary Medical College Application Services, I believe. And it has multiple categories. When you get your application, when you like actually make an account and you log in, you're going to see 4 sections. The 4 sections you should see, I don't know if it changed, but when I took it, I saw 4 sections. So hopefully y'all still see 4 sections when you see this. But it's going to say personal information. That's usually the first thing that you're going to be able to fill out when you make your account. The other ones are usually like the other 3 boxes are grayed out and they open as time goes on in the application process, right? So the first thing that opens, and it opens January 2024. The date is always unknown, but from my recollection, if I'm remembering correctly, it opened at the end of the month in January. So y'all should be on the lookout for that soon for my upcoming applicants. Personal information is the first thing to open up. And it's basically about your ethnicity, your financial status, your birthday, your social, all that jazz, like, you know, personal information. It's kind of self-explanatory. The second thing that usually opens up is called academic history. This is where you can kind of start putting in your classes. So if you are in undergrad right now and you're about to get your bachelor's degree, you can go into your student center or whatever, and you can look at all the classes you've ever taken while you've been there, and you can see those grades. This is where you can start entering in that information. The third section that usually opens up is called supporting information. I believe is just about your essays. There are supplemental essays, and then there's like personal essays and personal statement essays. It's a lot of essays. So I'm going to make a whole separate video about essays because that can be its own video by itself. It's going to be too much in this video. Me trying to explain all of the long list of things I have on top of me trying to explain personal essays and how to write good ones. So that'll be a different video. However, that supporting materials section, I believe, is for that. And then you also have what's called program materials. Now, program materials is more specifically tailored to all of your programs you're going to apply to. So hypothetically, if you're applying to Tuskegee in Virginia, Maryland, you're going to have a different program material section than somebody who's applying to Cornell and Purdue. They have different questions, different requirements, different fees, different type of things. So it just kind of depends on the school. Keep in mind that, like I said already, some schools have supplemental application fees. So for example, when I was applying to Tuskegee, they had a $50 additional supplemental fee on top of my VMCAS application fee, depending on whatever that was. I don't remember if that was $100. I don't remember if that was, I couldn't tell you how much each additional school was. But I'll get into how much I paid at the end. Let's actually get into the do's and the don'ts. Before we actually get into like the major do's, there are some things that you should be doing before you even touch this application. I'm personally going to recommend that you make a veterinary portfolio. This is also helpful to my high school and undergraduate just now starting out, like babies that want to do vet med. I would recommend having a portfolio. And normally you think of portfolio, you think of like the fashion magazine portfolios where they got their pictures and stuff. Similar but different in the sense that you're not going to have a whole bunch of pictures of you doing things, but you're going to have like, this is going to be a folder or a binder where you keep all of your documentations in terms of your experiences, your rewards, your, I don't know, contact informations for your networking type of things. I want you to have a binder or a folder of some sort that you can keep that information together, so that way when it's time to do your application, you have all these things in front of you and you're not searching around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to find all the information. That was me. I was a chicken with my head cut off. if you were wondering. Before you start this application, I recommend that you do start keeping track of all your experiences, big or small. And if you're wondering, yes, that volunteer opportunity is still considered experiences. This can be paid or unpaid. You should know that regardless of what you're wondering or curious about, that all of your experience is still experience. I didn't have a whole bunch of volunteer work. Most of my experience was, however, paid, but I did still, however, have volunteer work that I didn't get paid for. Like in undergrad, my pre-vet club, we went to a pig sanctuary. That was unpaid. We volunteered. We helped clean. We helped build fences. We did a lot of different things with those pigs, and we got to hang out with pigs too. Like, it was fun. We fed the pigs and everything. I also did unpaid like shadowing at the Baltimore, Maryland Zoo. That was super fun. I gained a lot of experience. I worked with a gazelle. Never even seen a gazelle within 10 feet of me. It's like being near a deer, right? So it's a really cool, super fun. Didn't get paid for it. And I think one of the other things I did was I volunteered at like my local shelter. Didn't get paid for that either. So I'm going to recommend that you still, if not all of your experience doesn't have to be volunteer, you should get paid for your work, because it's not, veterinary medicine is not easy work. But I think it's important to have volunteer experiences on there, because vet med people want to see, okay, she's not only doing stuff to get paid, she likes to do this in her spare time too. She likes to volunteer. Like, she's just giving her time, no money involved. You know what I mean? Or he's just giving his time, no money involved. It looks good on the application, in my opinion. Keep track of your rewards, achievements, and areas like research, dean's lists, scholarships, etc. That's going to look good on your application. They want to see, how have you developed as a student? Have you developed by maybe your freshman year you didn't get dean's list and now you do, right? Or maybe you didn't get a scholarship before, or you lost your scholarship because you had a low GPA, but now you got back on track and now you have your scholarship back. Those things look good to them because it shows that you're a progressor. It shows that you build over time and you get better progressively over time every single time. They want to see the progression and see that you have resilience within you being a vet med student, because it's not easy to get in. The next thing I also have in your prerequisite dues, like you're going to do it beforehand, is I want you to keep this statement in the back of your mind. This is important, and I had it in the back of my mind the whole time I was filling out my application. And this statement is, I'm going to put it on the screen too so you can see it for, dramatic effect as well. If I was a member on the admissions committee, and you can insert your school if it makes you feel better. If I was a member on Purdue's academic, committee or whatever. That's so wrong. If I was a member on Purdue's admissions facility committee and was trying to decide if this applicant, in this case, the applicant is you, is worth having a seat in the cycle, do I like what I'm reading? Have you convinced yourself that you're worth the seat? And you have to make sure that you're selling yourself to yourself. So the whole time I'm filling out my application, guys, I promise you, I'm sitting there like, I'm reading it back like, if I was on this committee, would I be impressed with what I'm reading? Because if I'm not, then I'm not doing it right. You know what I mean? Like, I need to make sure that as I'm reading this essay or this personal statement or whatever you're filling out, that I can say, dang, this girl stands out, or dang, he's doing it. He's standing out against all the other men that are applying. You know what I mean? You want to look different. You want to be different. You don't want to blend in with the crowd. They want to remember you. So it's important that you stand out. Be different. Say something different. Don't be cliche. Pluto, stop. I had to kick y'all nephew out because he was driving me nuts. The last final tip of my pre-dues that you should be doing is you should set aside money for your application, because when I tell y'all, the application is not cheap. It's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap. And honestly, when I paid my bill, I cried a little bit on the inside because I knew I was doing it for the right reasons, but it really hurt my bank account because it was really expensive. Like, a lot of y'all know, I applied to 5 schools. I spent $700 for 5 schools, and that's not including supplementation. Like, literally, I can find you the video. I will put it on here just so you can see. The video literally says I applied for VMCAS by itself, $700. So if I add in, I believe Tuskegee had a $50 supplementation fee, or $75. I don't remember which one it was. That's already $775. I don't think any of my other schools had supplemental fees. I can't say that word. I don't think any of my other school has supplemental fees. But Tuskegee for sure did, and I paid it, and it was not cheap. So really you want to set aside money for the application. Make sure you get it, you know, to the side or something. Work and save your money to apply. And I know, like, if this is your third or fourth or fifth time applying and you've already applied before and you're watching this video, keep doing it, y'all. I promise it's hard, and I'm not even gonna sit here and discredit you because I know how it feels to want something and to not get it, but keep doing it. They have something on the VMCAS website where you can ask for like help financially. Fill it out. Don't try to burn your brain out and spend all your hard-earned last penny on the application. If they will give you money, let them give you money. I didn't know that. If I had known that, I would have let them give you money, because I was paying this as a college student and didn't have no source of income. So if you need help, ask for help. So now let's get into the real do's, not the early do's, not the behind do's, whatever. Get into the real do's and don'ts here. So the first do that I have, complete your application early. I can't say that enough, y'all. As I told you before, there's sections that open up over time. So the start date usually for the application process or the cycle is January, and the like submittal final deadline is normally in September or August. I don't remember. I think it's September though. You have from January to September, which is basically almost a whole year, to complete your application beforehand. Do not procrastinate on it. And when you have free time and you're not doing nothing and you're sitting there scrolling on TikTok or Twitter, do the application. Like, that's what I did the whole summer of 2021. I did what I could do as things opened up, but I spent majority of my summer dog sitting and filling out my VMCAS application. So don't wait on it. Like, really, literally get it done early. My next do is do have someone else listen to or read your supplemental essays / personal statements. Let somebody else hear what you wrote down. I used to read my mom all of my essays, and I was like, how does that sound? Does it sound like, did I convince you? Like I said, in the back of my mind, did I convince you to let me in on a seat? Like, how did that work? Let somebody else listen, let somebody else read it. So that way they could be like, I like what you said here, but let's revise that. Or I like what you said here, let's delete this part though, or let's revise it, or whatever the case may be. Let somebody else listen to it. You know? It's important. And the keys to having a good personal statement, as I said before, I will make another video, probably plus or minus after this one. It may be another one after this and then the next one that comes out. I'm not sure. But that will include my personal statements, and it will also include how I answered my essays for the questions that I had on my application. So stay tuned for that video, guys. I think it's going to be really, really, really helpful. It was hard for me to choose between this video and the other one, which is a breakdown of my actual VMCAS application for Virginia, Maryland. I really wish that the people that voted for the other one, because I kind of wanted to do it, but it was just a lot. So I'm glad I'm doing this one first, but you're going to get both. So don't fret if you don't see that one yet. The next thing, so I scroll all the way down to the bottom of my list. Oh, so make sure that you do utilize the connections that you've already made through your experiences, which could be managers, doctors, professors, etc. They will be the ones writing your references. I lie to you not, guys. As you guys know, you've seen clips and I've put it in here before. I worked at a clinic that was really close to my house as I was getting into vet med and everything. And that clinic was literally the reason that I learned everything I learned. I love my first clinic. They really groomed me well, okay? And I had I think you have a total of 6 letters of recommendations you can write. I believe I did 5 out of the 6. I don't think I did all 6, but it doesn't hurt to do all 6. If you know 6 people, let 6 people write it. But I think I only had 5 that I was comfortable with, that I knew well enough to write for me. And 4 out of those 6, or out of my 5, were from my first clinic. It was both of my doctors, my manager, and another one of our techs. I had all of because they knew me so well. I had been there for 4 years. They knew me so well. So they would leave. I would go back to school, come back. They let me back. Jalee's working again. She back on the schedule. Bam. Leave again, come back. They were just so used to me having school. It meant a lot to me to have them write my letters of recommendations, because they loved me and I loved them just as much. If you have that portfolio ahead of time, you have all your connections and you stay in contact with all your connections and stuff. When it comes time for letters of recommendations, they'll be more than willing to write them for you. But you want to have the information on hand. You don't want to be scrambling around trying to find Dr. Smith, and Dr. Smith been retired for 10 years and you don't know where Dr. Smith is, you know what I mean? So you really want to have the information handy. Before you see, if you do it beforehand, you don't have to do it later, you see what I mean? The next one, and one of the most important ones in my opinion, is be vulnerable on your application. Be very, 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 very transparent, very vulnerable. To kind of touch on My hair, I'm sorry y'all keep messing with my hair, but it's just in the way. It's making my neck itch. So to be kind of vulnerable with you guys again, when I was doing my application, I did it in 2021. My dad had passed from COVID-19 in 2020, so a year in advance. So a lot of the application cycle during that time was very heavily about COVID. And I talked about my experience losing my dad. That was deep. I cried typing it. I lie to y'all not. I was in there sobbing, typing it. But I really think that my dad's passing and how we like it went about, it was a lot at the time. It still is a lot to this day. Trust me, y'all, I'm not fully healed from it, but still, it really shaped my application because my dad was the reason why I got into veterinary medicine. He bought me my animals. He cultivated that in me very, very young. He had me around a lot of different animals when I was young, and he was the reason why I love animals the way I do. So that shaped my application. It was hard to write. I am not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Like I said, I was crying, but it really helped my application. And it was genuine. It was from the heart. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about my dad to get into vet school. It really happened. It was really real. It was me. It was what shaped Jalea to be Jalea. So it's gonna be hard to talk about, but I really think you guys should be vulnerable in your application when it comes to your personal essays, when it comes to even your regular essays for the schools and programs and stuff. Say it how it is. I done told about some of my experiences that weren't perfect in vet med and how I seen some doctors do some things I wasn't proud of. I seen it, and I said in my application, I do not want to be that doctor. I had seen them do it the wrong way, but I want to do it the right way. I want to learn the right way. They like that because it's genuine. It's coming from the heart. And when you're not genuine, they can see through it. So even if you have somebody type it for you or you BS'd it, blah, 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 when it comes down to your interviews, they're going to be like, I read in your personal statement that you said that you did X, Y, and Z. Elaborate on that. So if you really didn't go through it, it's gonna be a little bit hard for you to explain that. You know what I mean? My second to last bullet point, that is my do think about the things that make you stand out. What makes you different? I keep emphasizing on that because it's so important. A lot of y'all not, even in my VMCAS, if I go back through and read the question that they asked me for one of my essays, it said, we get a lot of applicants. How exactly are you different? Like, what makes you stand out from all these other applicants that are in our, I'm about to say in our DMs, but all the other applicants that are in our mailboxes and inboxes? Why you? What's so special about you? They don't mean it like that. They're not saying like you ain't special, but what makes you stand out? So hypothetically, for an example of what makes me stand out or what made me stand out on my application, besides my dad and the sob story, I had a minor in psychology because I just really love psych. If I wasn't a veterinarian, I would be doing psychology. So when I had my minor in psychology, I tied that into talking about the mental health of veterinarians and how we're losing veterinarians to mental health issues and to suicide and things of that sort. So I tied into how important mental health is, and it should be a really big focus in vet med. That's just me. It's genuinely me. I genuinely love psychology, but that's what makes me different because I'm not only thinking about the patients, but I'm thinking about other coworkers, other people that I'll be with, that I'll work with. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about them too. Something that makes you different. See what I did there, y'all? I see the light bulbs. Ding, ding, ding. If I have the light bulbs, I'm like, ding, 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 ding. I'm eating the girls up. Y'all should be writing this down. And then my last final point, stay true to you. And I said that a million times, but I'm gonna say it again. Stay true to you. Don't tell them what they want to hear. Tell them who you are. Show up in the room and walk in like you belong there, because you do. You got there for a reason. You're applying for this for a reason. You have a passion for vet med. Show them that. Show them what makes you different. If you struggle with a class, tell them why you struggled. Be transparent, but also take accountability on the things you could have done differently too. Because nobody wants to hear somebody say, oh, I failed a class because the teacher did X, Y, Z. If it wasn't for that teacher, I would have passed, but I didn't pass because of that teacher. Where's the accountability in you too? Like, you got to be like, although my teacher didn't really help me, I had to take it upon myself to relearn the material. I had to take accountability and focus on what I need to do to pass class. See what I mean there? Yeah. Those are my dues. Those are all my dues, y'all. And it's relatively short, sweet, to the point. I can go into depth as you guys need. Feel free to comment down below about things you think, ooh, my hair, what? Feel free to comment down below about things that you think could be another do that I didn't say. Help your other fellow applicants out. So if you have a do in mind, put it down below. If you have a don't in mind, put it down below. Let me know what y'all think. Converse with me, chat with me. Y'all know I love the comments. So now let's get into the don'ts. My don'ts. These things you do not want to do on your VMCAS application. Don't use cliche phrases like "I've loved animals from a very young age or all my life." We all did. No shade, because we all love animals. That's why we're here, right? Like, I highly doubt y'all would be in vet med if you didn't like animals. So now I'm gonna be honest, because I don't lie to y'all. I started out my essay like that, but I spun it around. So it wasn't so, and you'll see when I make my next video that I started out like that, but it wasn't super cliche. Like, I started off, I think I said, like, just like everybody else, I obviously loved animals from a young age. And then I continued on and on. And you'll see when you see my next video of how I spun it around to make it not sound so cliche and sound a little different. But you want to refrain from using like phrases like, "Oh, I love animals and I went to horseback riding camp when I was 10 and I just fell in love with all the horses and I just said I'm going to take care of these horses." Like, repetitive, one. Two, everybody loves, I personally am not a huge fan of horses, but I like horses. They're cool. And, there's a lot of people that are interested in equine medicine. Why you? They all loved horses, so why you? You know what I mean? Refrain from your cliche phrases. My next point of don'ts: don't choose people to write your letter of recommendations that you don't know. I promise you. You want people that can sing your praises. You want people that can say, "Johnny has showed up every day. When we had 10 people call out, Johnny was there. Johnny was doing this and Johnny was doing that." You want people to say that about you. You don't want people that secretly tells you, like, because like I said, we've all been in situations where professors have told us, "Oh, you're not getting into vet school. Your GPA is trash." Or even people that had tried to get into vet school themselves and failed. You don't want people like that writing your letter of recommendations, because sometimes people are envious, and that's sad to say, but it's the truth. So you want people that are writing your letter of recommendations that want to see you succeed, that want to see you get into vet school, that want to support you through that process, because it's a process and we got to support each other. So pick who's writing your letter of recommendations wisely. Choose people that truly can speak on your character, truly can speak on who you are as a person, truly can speak on your work ethic. That's important. My next don't: do not use chat services like ChatGPT to write your essays. And I'm not saying that because I don't love ChatGPT, because I do. I use it for everything. But that's the problem. We're in this new age technology where AI is doing everything. It's working, but it's just not unique. So if Sarah texts ChatGPT and she says, "Hey ChatGPT, how can I, write my personal statement for my veterinary medicine application?" Okay, it's going to tell Sarah a list of things that you can do to tailor your application. But Danielle could go around and do this. I'm using fake names, y'all, but Danielle could go and do the same thing, and it's going to give her the same list of information. So you have to know that when you're doing something so personal to you and something that you're so passionate about, you want to stand out. You don't want to sound like everybody else and tailor it the way it's supposed to. Though ChatGPT is really good and I love it, not saying you don't use it at all, but just be mindful of when you're using it, of making sure you don't sound like everybody else. Make sure you don't sound repetitive. Sound different. Be different. Tailor it to yourself. The next don't is do not, y'all. I said it before, but I'm saying it again. Do not wait to the last minute. Just don't. Because start it in as the sections open, complete each section. So by the time it gets to July, August, you're finishing up your pieces. You're getting your final transcripts and you're getting your final grades, and you can submit them to VMCAS. You want everything going according to plan, because, excuse my French, y'all, but shit happens, okay, and really bad. So you want to make sure that you have time to plan it out, have time to get it together. You don't want to mess it up. So don't wait to the last minute. Don't be that person, y'all. I'm lazy too, but don't be that person, because I want y'all to get in. So make sure you do it ahead of time. And like I told you before, this application for the next cycle of 2029, I believe, they open January 2024 to the end of the month, I believe. And I was checking literally every day. Every day I would go to the VMCAS website until it said create an account. Like, every day. Is the VMCAS open yet? Is the VMCAS open yet? Is it open yet? Is it open yet? Nope, January 2024. I'm like, it is January 2024, so where's the application? Like, you need to be on your P's and Q's. Stay on my P's and my Q's. Yes, stay on my Q's and my P's. That's what you want to do. You want to be like Uzi. Like, do it the correct way. My last don't, and this is the last one I have, don't forget the end of your application deadline. So if it says September 15th, don't forget it. Make sure it's submitted before then. Make sure it's paid before then. Make sure all your loose ends are tied up by the end. Stay on my P's and my Q's. Yeah, stay on my Q's and my P's. So you really want to do that. You really want to stay on top of the application. I feel like most of the don'ts, it's not much you can do wrong on this application, in my personal opinion. But you really just want to stay on top of it. You want to reread things 100 times. You want to sit down and read it and read it and read it. I promise you, I read it 100 times. Every time I completed an essay, I would go back and read the first one I completed. Like, I would read all of them. Okay, that makes sense. I would type in the text box, transfer it to Word doc. Make sure I'm not missing no misspelled words or nothing. Like, make it make sense. Tailor it. Like, speak from the heart, speak from your soul, speak from you. Because you are you at the end of the day. I want to sit here and say, first of all, get into my case, guys. This is cute. Hot fire, 5 and below. ASMR. Yeah. That's besides the point. It has nothing to do with the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video and it was informative, make sure to give it a big like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to figure out more content for y'all in terms of VMCAS, because I really don't know how to break down the application, because it's a long application. Like, I promise you, I spent months doing it. I didn't wake up one day, type it all down, it was done. Like, it took months of rereading and months of fixing and tailoring and other people reading and a lot of different things. So I urge you to not procrastinate. I urge you to do your best, which I know you will, because you want to be a vet student too, and I want y'all to be in vet school with me. I want to see y'all journeys too. That being said, stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to be talking about personal statements, and I'm going to be breaking down my VMCAS application. So if you would like to see my VMCAS application and see the application that got me into my dream school, you better watch the next video. You better have the post bell notifications on, because if you don't, what's going on? I don't have to tell it to my subscribers. My OGs know, they know. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.